Good morning, folks. Aaron Dorr here with Iowa Gun Owners. Talking to you guys today about Dan Crenshaw and the runaway problem that we have with Republican lawmakers who tell us how pro-gun they are every 2 years or every 4 years, and then screw us over once they're actually in office. We'll talk about that, what that means for us here in Iowa. As you guys get signed in, let me know where you're watching from. I am obviously driving today. Call it my mobile office, if you will, today. So not in the office, but wanted to give you guys this update because we keep getting asked this question over and over, by our members. How in the world can we have so many freaking Republicans who tell us that they're 100% pro-gun, who are now also saying they are okay with a red flag gun seizure? And so we're going to talk about that. And I'm not going to promise to leave you with a happy sensation when this is done, but I can promise you that you're going to be pleased to know that there's going to be a war if they try to pass this in Iowa, because, well, we're going to lead that charge. So, talking about Dan Crenshaw, a lot of you guys caught our video last week about this guy. You guys all know Dan Crenshaw probably by now. He's made a lot of news in the last couple weeks in the gun rights community. Dan Crenshaw is a perfect conversation for this because he represents the same ideas, the same problems, the same stupid people that we have in the Iowa legislature. So yeah, he's from Texas, and yeah, he's in Congress, but it's the same thing. All right, Dan Crenshaw, Navy SEAL, retired Lieutenant Commander, United States Navy, Navy SEAL, lost an eye overseas due to an IED. On paper, you would think this guy is perfect, right? I mean, he should be a warrior for our gun rights, right? And you think he'd be the last guy who would ever want to try to side with the radical left or moderate rhinos and pass a red flag gun seizure law. But instead, as you guys have all seen the last couple weeks now, Dan Crenshaw loudly supporting a push for red flags. And again, this has a bearing on us because we have the same problem here in Iowa. So Dan Crenshaw has been trying for the last week or 10 days to tell gun owners that, wow, no, I support this version or I support this version. And, after the shootings in Texas, where I'm from, I had to get serious about this. But here's the deal. He does a media interview just 2 days ago. 2 days ago. I'm going to read you one paragraph here from this interview. He says, quote, "I've been thinking seriously about passing this policy for years. It was not something I just recently heard of. The NRA supported well-crafted versions of this, and he's been a fan for years." And so here we have this is what happens all the time. These people tell us that they're 100% pro-gun. And the truth of the matter is, folks, these people only want to ride the Second Amendment and ride gun owners into office. That's it. They, in many cases, don't want to fight for gun owners. They don't want to sit there and incur the wrath of their legislative leadership team for gun owners. They want to use the gun rights issue at election time to secure their election or re-election, and whatever the case is. And then once they're in office, well, you and I as gun owners, we can go pound sand. And we've seen this play out time and time again, right? In Iowa, after gun owners gave the Republicans the majority in the House in 2010, after we gave them the majority in the Senate in 2016, after we stopped Fred Hubbell from becoming governor in 2018, what do we get for all of this work? What do we get? We got nothing. We got nothing because these Republicans only want to use our issue at election time. They do not want to fight for us when they're in session. Ryan Marlowe says charlatans. That's one word. I got some other words too, but I can never tell when my kids are watching because we homeschool. So I got to be careful. These people are lying, backstabbing frauds at a bare minimum. And Dan Crenshaw is exactly one of those people. Now, the reporter that Dan Crenshaw was talking with, I'm going to read this one quote here 1 second. Because we have been hit by some people who say, well, you can't say anything bad about Dan Crenshaw. He is a United States Navy SEAL retired. Well, that's a fair question. Are we allowed to criticize lawmakers who are veterans? Well, I think absolutely. They fought to uphold the Constitution, and if they're not going to uphold that now, when they're out of service but in public office, well, we absolutely have to go out there and call that out. The reporter who interviewed Dan Crenshaw, she said, "Sir, you're a veteran. You lost your eye fighting for our country. If you fought for our freedom, then you have no right now to try to take it away. Your service to this country is meaningless if you are going to now serve the interest of gun-grabbing organizations like Moms Demand Action and fight to take away our freedom instead of trying to protect it." I think that's very well said. Very well said. You know, someone's previous actions don't give them a pass on what's happening today, on what they're doing right now. And for Dan Crenshaw to sit there and stab us in the back like this and then try to say we can't criticize him, well, I know we got lots of veterans with Iowa gun owners. Probably a lot of you guys right now are veterans watching this video, and I'm sure that the veterans are the first ones to agree that this guy can't attack our gun rights, can't come after our freedom, and then get a pass on that because of his prior military service. I'm sorry. Our constitutional freedoms are larger than any one person. Our constitutional freedoms are larger than anybody's past experience. You know, and we have lots of veterans that have fought for this country. But if I have to choose between, you know, which veteran camp I want to line up with, I'm going to choose George Washington. I'm going to choose George Washington long before I choose the Dan Crenshaws. If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up, because real people really fought and really died to give us this country. They died to give us this country. And we have to fight back with everything we have to help make sure that our grandchildren and our great-great-great-grandchildren can enjoy the freedoms that we inherited from our forefathers. And that gets me to Iowa, because as you guys know, we saw in the news last week, Governor Kim Reynolds, when asked about red flags, she said, we're going to take a look at everything. We're going to take a look at everything, which includes red flag gun seizures. She said it herself. Hit it on Google. It's all over the internet. Terrible, terrible response from a weak politician who wants nothing more from gun owners than to secure her election every 4 years. That's it. So we know we have Republican Governor Kim Reynolds, who is open to this. We know that we have Matt Winchell, Speaker Pro Tem of the Iowa House. You've all seen the Iowa Press interview. You've all seen him on Iowa Press, where he says he bragged about how he's already been reaching across the aisle, trying to, you know, broker a deal, you know, on some form of a red flag gun seizure. When it comes to guns in the Iowa House, Matt Winchell sets the agenda. That's why he's killed constitutional carry for the last couple of years. So we know we have the Speaker Pro Tem of the Iowa House who's open to some form of this. We know the governor is willing to look at everything when it comes to guns. The question is, you know, are there any Republican lawmakers who will fight for us? We've seen the press release from Senator Jake Chapman, good guy. He's my state senator, as a matter of fact, Jake Chapman from Adel. But we haven't seen anybody else come out and oppose it. And I'm going to make a bold prediction, heavy sarcasm on the word bold. You're not going to see anybody else come out and publicly attack this. You know, yeah, they might do a comment on a Facebook post here and there. But I mean a Republican lawmaker who will stand up and say, I will lead the charge against this. I doubt we're going to see anybody else in Iowa do it, because we have a legislature that is comprised almost exclusively of the weakest, most fearful lemmings that I have ever seen in, 11, 12 years of fighting for gun rights in the great state of Iowa. Sure, we've got pro-gun votes in both chambers, no question about that, but the number of lawmakers who will stand up there and challenge legislative leaders and say, no, you want to kill constitutional carry? I say no. You want to advance a form of red flag gun seizures? I say no. The number of lawmakers who will get involved in a fight for your freedom with their own party leadership. Sorry, I'm on a bridge here right now, and my phone's ready to fall right off my magnet. Give me just a moment here. The number of guys who will do that, or gals, it's none. It's none. Let me get past this bridge, because I'm getting a headache watching me. I can't only imagine how bad it is for you guys. Give me about another 10 seconds here, and I'll be off this bridge. Where I shake my phone right off my camera mount. There we go. And so when we approach the 2020 session, we have to understand that we have a very real chance that these people are going to try to slide this into law this year. Now, they won't call it a red flag gun seizure. They might call it ERPOs. They might call it emergency seizures. They might call it temporary firearms restraining orders with a touch of pixie dust. I mean, I don't know what they're going to call it, because they're all afraid of the term red flag gun seizure. They're going to rename it if they do this. But we have to be prepared for this, because we know that we have a lot of people like little Dan Crenshaw in our Iowa Senate and House caucuses. I got to tell you, I was in the Capitol yesterday, and I bumped into the Senate Democratic Chief of Staff. We don't agree on anything to do with policy. But I was there for a brief time in the Capitol yesterday, and he stopped me, and he was trying to just make a joke, I guess. But he's like, for 8 years you stood here when Obama was in the White House. For 8 years you warned about gun grabs when my party, he's the Democrat caucus chief of staff, when my party had the majority. And he's like, and now when the roles have been reversed and we're in the minority, he's like, your gun rights are under bigger threats now than when we were in charge. And if you think about that, it's exactly right. It's exactly right. We have a greater threat right now in the sense that most gun owners, not you people, you guys know how this works, but most gun owners just kind of sit back and yawn right now, especially in Iowa, because we figure, hey, we've got the GOP in control. They're going to take care of business. We can sit back and relax. And that's not the case. That's exactly the time we have to be most on guard. And so, yeah, I see some guys here getting tuned in the last couple seconds. But, yeah, I'm in the Capitol yesterday in Des Moines. I'll repeat this one quick story. In the Capitol yesterday, bumped into the Senate Democrat caucus chief of staff, their head honcho, and he was mocking me, kind of teasing me. He's like, you guys were so concerned for 8 years under Obama, and then by extension, when the Senate Democrats control the Iowa State Senate, you were so concerned for all that gun control for all those years, and now that we're in the minority, he's like, you guys got bigger threats against your gun rights now than you ever had from us. Talking about, red flags, right? Talking about bump stocks, talking about fixed NICS. I mean, we have all these areas that Obama couldn't pass when he was in the White House because all the Republicans stood up and fought hard and opposed him. But now that the stuff is coming from our side, whether it's Dan Crenshaw in Texas, whether it's Matt Winchell in Iowa, whether it's Republicans in Pennsylvania who are doing this, or Arkansas, or Wyoming where it's being talked about. Now the Republicans are the ones who are doing this. Well, all of a sudden, where are all of the angry hordes of gun owners? And you guys, I'm not talking to you guys. You guys get it. You've been a part of this fight for a long time. But you got to talk about that with your friends and with your family, coworkers, shooting buddies, and say, hey, we need more gun owners involved in this fight, because this fight is coming, and we need to be ready for it. And guys, we, as always, have a join link on top of this video. It's joinigo.com. joinigo.com. Become a member today of Iowa Gun Owners. If If you want to get more involved, that is how you do it. No action items today in terms of email. I would tell you this, though. We're only a couple days away from the Senate coming back from their August recess. They come back on September 5. September 5 is the kickoff. And that means the fight over red flag gun seizure law is going to get white hot in D.C. very, very soon. We know where Chuck Grassley stands. He's announced that at dumb old Steve Holt's fundraiser at the gun range over in Denison. I mean, how ironic. You're doing a fundraiser at a gun range, and you announce your support for red flags. I mean, how dumb can these people be? I mean, how dumb can Steve Holt be? Old dopey Steve. How silly can Steve be to allow his fundraiser at a gun range to be used to announce Senator Grassley's support for red flags? I mean, this stuff is baffling. But anyway, we know where Grassley stands. He's in favor of some form of red flags. We don't know yet 100% where Senator Ernst is on this, because she's made statements, but they've been kind of hard to decipher. We'll leave it at that. So we'll have action items for you guys. We'll have emails coming out for you guys, more videos for you guys as we approach the start of the Senate coming back on September 5, a couple weeks from now, but a couple days from now. This fight's going to get hot, and this is the problem that we have. It's all the Dan Crenshaws, it's all the Matt Winchells, it's all these Republicans, and they're counting on you and I sitting back, giving them a pass and saying, oh, it's okay. They won't do anything bad. Folks, Crenshaw announced it last night. He has wanted to pass some form of a red flag gun seizure bill for years. These people are lying to gun owners. They are playing gun owners. They want to use us at election time, and that's it. And we can't give them the benefit of the doubt. Don't do it, not for a second. And that's why we work so hard to do candidate surveys. If a candidate won't sign a survey, there's likely a reason why. Anyway, guys, have a great day. Share the video. If you haven't yet joined up, guys, it's joinigo.com. We'll have more information shortly. Guys, take care and have a great day. Take care.